We're going to do a question answer class, but the topic that is I've put on Clubhouse is basically, is this the way? I.e., is this the way for you? Or and why is it the way or your way? Why is it your way? Is it the way? Is this the way? And why is it your way? Okay, so there's a question to ponder on. Is this the way? And why is it your way? Okay. So I'm gonna put it to the audience because I'm not gonna do a lot of talking today. Well, I am gonna do a lot of talk. I'm gonna talk, but we're gonna build. Do you know what I mean? So the question is this the way? Is this the way? Based on our formation. Rahubat. If someone wants to add something on Zoom, anybody want to say anything at all on Zoom? Is this the way? Why are you here on this platform right now? What's the reason why you're here? Is this the way?
Yes, sir.
Oh, Rahubat, Jose's.
Abubat.
Why,
Yes,
why,
sir.
why is it your way then? What makes it your way? So you need to, we need to establish that, you've also been paying attention through all the different classes and all the, months that you've been listening or weeks you've been reading, etc. So, putting it to you, why is it your way? Why is it your way, Jose?
I'm using the culture, the science, and spirituality as a remembering tool in order to get to our factory settings and function in our best potential.
Well, where? Well, where? I like that. I like that. Anybody else? Any other takers? Don't feel shy. It's not a right or wrong answer. So this Wu-Sabat does not judge anybody. It's your journey, okay, into something that you've never been privy to know for over 6,000 years, going on 24,000 years cycle, because that's when Wu Nawap or Wu-Sabat comes to this planet. Do you know what I mean? The reawakening takes place. Every 24,000 years, a supreme being comes in a human form to re-elevate us, rekindle us with our true nature, and also is a renewing of our way of life. Yeah, so the old way of life that we felt, we lost along the way, and it became so desecrated and decimated and destroyed, and other people took their part and turned into whatever. It's now a renewal. So the renewal is done by the reformer who comes every 24,000 years. So as Jose said, it's a remembering. Yeah, you're remembering once again who you are, So that's what Tarak. Yeah, so when we say the way, that's Tarak, the way through the different dimensional gates and portals, okay, which is preparing you organically, DNA, mental, and also spiritual and also physical. It's preparing all of these different elements that you're made up of, all of these components that you're made up of. That's what Wu-Sabat, Wu-Nawab, the way is preparing you for, so that you can make the smooth transition. Okay. Imagine it like this, because when we talk about wormholes and galaxies, etc., the masters taught us that the womb hole what you pass through your mother is through the womb hole. Okay. Likewise, if anyone knows about, being a mother or studied biology, etc., the mother goes through a birth pain. Okay. And from her canal, okay, she's yielding a child, okay, through that womb hole into this realm, into this existence. So likewise, the same principle applies in the reverse. You are now being prepared, just like the woman, the female, prepares the child in her womb, okay, in order for her to yield a strong, healthy child. And if you're not strong enough as a child or a baby, coming through these different canals, okay, the womb hole, you either end up with a birth defect or it may be too strenuous for you and you have stillborn, etc., etc. So the same principle happens in the reverse. You have to be prepared to be able to move through this cycle, this dimension, into the through the wormhole into where you came from. Okay, so that you be greeted and met by your relative, just like the doctor, the nurses meet you on this side. Okay, and then they smack your bum and then you start to cry. All right, so that's essentially what's taking place. So this being, his job is to do that, and this is why it's known as Patarak, okay, the way of transformation from being a physical being into a etheric being, okay? So Jose's answered. Who else? Start for takers. Who's the next taker?
Rahubat, an answer.
Rahubat. Rahubat. Who am I speaking to?
Kobe,
Kobe. Greetings, Kobe.
greetings, Rahubat. I would say the way, for me, the way I look at it is the way is by natural nature. And I think that's what really drew me to Wu-Sabat, is because it's an understanding of natural nature, and the science behind it. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's all part of it too. All part of it too. So what in natural nature do you have to apply or acknowledge?
Um, I'll say everything. I mean, even just sitting down and observing natural nature and seeing how things happen, um, and then applying it to life. Like the example you've just given about mothers giving birth and us being ready to transform. You could look at a plant and see how a plant grows, and it's the same thing. You could look at a butterfly from a caterpillar. Yeah, a caterpillar, and it's the same sort of concept. So it's just understanding the universal natural natures of things, and applying it to our lives.
Mm-hmm. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, exactly that. It is about acknowledging natural nature, and natural nature is natural ether energy. So natural ether energy is Nupu or Wu-Nuwapu, okay, in its varying degrees and forms and how it can transform into different um, energies or physical manifestations. So, being that we are a natural ether energy being, okay, our job is to literally, look at natural nature and how it applies to us and the different formulas that we can utilize in order to make that transformation take place. Okay. So being that that is the way for you, the precepts and training is there provided by way of rituals that we do. So one of the rituals we just did the Pata Kyud. Okay. Pata Kyud means now acknowledging natural nature and being able to connect natural nature with the tones, the various tones that natural nature produces. So we as Nagaru, we work off the F, A, and C. Those are our natural tones. Other races or species also have their own natural tones that they use in order for them to exist. So being that we're utilizing FAC, the language, the chanting, the fasting, etc., all are very important in allowing you to understand your existence, your way, okay, and reasoning it out when you're applying these things. Does it make sense to you? Is it working for you? Can you see the manifestations? Can you see the benefits, okay, of applying Patarak to your way? Is this the way? Are you feeling that this is the way for you? And what's the next stage from that? Once you recognize that this is the way for you. Okay. Now we know within what we teach is that as spiritual or natural nature beings, we don't work off individualism. We work off as a unity. Okay. So the whole process or job is to work together to be able to build as one being and one unit in order to turn ourselves into this mother craft, as it were. Okay, one total being, so that we can then make the transition through, the different dimensions in order to pass through the wormhole. So this is why it's so important, especially in this day and time, what's happening to the planet, what's going on with, we know about the Trump situation, we know about everybody's so focused on this guy and what he's doing, because his job is to literally destroy America, is to lay waste to certain things and make certain promises that he's agreed to keep, certain what's it called? Covenants. In the ancient time, they were referred to as covenants, but they're really promises and agreements. Like Abraham had one, many other prophets of your scriptures, they were given certain covenants to uphold. And if they didn't fulfill it, their God would, do something with them or do something to them. So again, Trump is the same thing, he's also working off that, but I'm not going to really rear on about Trump. I'm more talking about what we as a people, okay, recognize in the sense of what is our true way. So our true way, as I said, is a 24,000-year cycle where Patarak is here now by way of actual facts, affirmation, in order to get you to the point where you can raise yourself to a higher level. So there's a portion that we were just discussing in dimensional shift, if I may read that to everybody. So in the scroll, dimensional shift is a Patarak. So does everyone know about the Philadelphia experiment? Who knows about the Philadelphia experiment?
Yes, the man from Planet Risk.
Yeah, So in the Man from Planet Risk, Panababi Yanun went on to explain about that there was an experiment where I'm not going to go into it too long, but essentially, in order for you to go through what they were creating was an invisibility and a cloaking device and also transportation, okay, from one place to another, okay. They had to understand calibrate the zero time reference of each individual person on that ship. Okay, so if you're not familiar with that, you can actually go and find there's a film that they made called the Philadelphia Experiment. So in that it explains about they don't actually touch on the actual DNA or the what's what I'm looking for? Calibration, okay, because they weren't actually talking about the biorhythm of the planet and things like that. They didn't really go into that, but they were talking more about how the person had a love interest, and that love interest affected his biorhythm. Okay, so just letting some more people in. So from dimensional shift, right. I'm read from page 3, verse 107. It's time to move higher and leave evil behind, or as they put it, left behind to move to the ninth ether, and then onto the final dimension realm of the deity, 7th to 8th, and then 9th. Yeah, so from what the master is explaining is that the 7th and 8th and 9th dimensions or etheric beings, okay, are deities. All right. So the ones below that are obviously demigods. The Natharu dwell on the 9th dimension, the perfected state of existence. Each shift is a gateway you must pass. Okay. You do things that can hinder you. Love, greed, anger, lust, poor health, metals in your body, tattoos of lead inks, things not natural to your matrix body, which can also be in foods like flesh, meats, have much iron in the blood. Sorry, I wasn't sharing with that. Let me just share the screen. So each shift, verse 109, each shift is a gateway you must pass. Only you do things that affect it. So eating meats, have iron in the blood. You have to be clean inside out and outside in. You must correct your health. You can't pass through dimensions with your matrix body physically or emotionally with extra baggage. Okay? So as in the Philadelphia experiment of August 12th, 1943, and the U.S. Eldridge Craft boat, when it started in 1940, they did not have the computer to do the math matrix to open the gate. So they got Dr. Emil Koltnaya, who was one of the scientists, okay, to actually help with this particular science. So just jump to 114. Once they got the crew, who would be on the US Eldridge and set the date, what they overlooked was the fact that one of the men was in love, was getting married that very day. Yet was ordered to report. He did not want to go. The military interrupted his marriage, and the MPs, that's military police, okay, took him by force to the base to prepare. Jumping on to verse 119. Well, the craft ended up jumping time up to 1963 AD in New York's Navy Yard. The men were taken to the hospital, and while there, the one who was emotionally in love faded back to 1943 AD because of the power of love and emotions. This meant when the ship was to return, that this one person's zero time reference was not or no longer on the craft. Okay, so when it returned, so imagine a field of energy, right? And your cells are, remember, your cells are atoms. Okay, I'm composed of atoms. And atoms have to go through what is called there's a shielding on each atomic level. Okay, and if you don't raise the frequency for that atomic level to be able to pass through a dimension, it can get, what's the word? It can kind of like trap. It can get trapped. Okay, am I making sense to anybody? Please say yes or no, because I don't want to leave you confused.
Yes, Amal.
Yeah, you following?
Yes, Amal.
So an atomic structure. Well, wait, an atomic structure, yeah. Quantum leap? Yeah, it's a bit like quantum leaping. So the shell of the nucleus, it jumps. So that's what's happening. Yeah, so it's jumping. But if the zero time reference of that person hasn't been synced, okay, then literally the atoms will just, be all over the place, haphazard. Yeah. And this is how, when it returned with this person whose love or emotional, just I'm saying, rhythm wasn't synced to the craft. Yeah, and because it wasn't synced to the craft, this particular energy was able happen where when the ship was returned, that this one person's zero time reference was no longer on the craft. Okay. And so when it returned, their zero time reference was out of sync. And most of the men could not completely re-enter 1943 AD time zone and were trapped in the parts of the craft. This is how spirits get trapped after death in this physical dimension. They are attached by their desires or lust, greed, loves, angers, hates. So once they depart their physical body, their spirits are trapped. No one can help them, thus they become wicked, ghosts, demons, even ghouls. You can get trapped as this shift takes place as the Kakasu. So this shift is taking place right now, and you can get trapped because of all the above, which I've mentioned. As the Kakasu will be trapped if they have not mixed their genes with the Mangalu, Dravadu, or Nagaru. Okay, so now you probably now get an understanding why there's a concentrated effort in gene mixing, okay, because this is part of it, all right? So now is the time, 24,000 year or 26,000th year, for the third dimensional harmonic shift, when the wormhole is made between Earth and Razak, Earth's ascension to a higher state or level. The prepared beings can cross over the wormhole of time and space to 76 trillion miles of time. Yet you must know the ritual needed, the beings needed, the tone needed, with all the right persons at the right time and place, or all is in vain. Know this, that what can trap you is you, and to what you attach yourself or being. Yeah, ascension is the path, sarat, of order that consciousness evolves. Multi-dimensional energy, mechanics of the mind into mind from mental through a structural, multi-dimensional system representing universal order through which consciousness experiences beings. In 1999 AD, the overlords, Kamau Pleiadians, came to Earth to ask the Kakasu, why have they not used the 6,000 years to rule with peace? Okay, so I'll just leave it there. But again, going back to the title, of today's class. Is this the way? Yeah, the way is through the wormhole by preparation of your being, being able to transform yourself so that you have to transform yourself inside out and outside in. Okay, are there any questions on that before I go to another reading? Any questions online, Zoom, Clubhouse? No? Okay. So the plan was that the root race, Nagaru, that was the original plan, called for each race to breed sub-races. The Negroids bred from themselves, the Dravadu, Indians. The Mongoloids bred from themselves, the Asian sub-races. And the Kakasu bred from themselves, the Europeans. Each were to evolve, and in end times, assemble one divine DNA strand called Ha-1 strand. 7, 8, 9 are divine DNA. The etheric root race, the Negroids, are unique. The only ones who remained Haman still have human hair on or their crown, while others mixed out or crossbred with canine to become Homo canine, simian to become Homo simian, and in exchange for Wabar hair, grew Farah fur, like the beasts whom their DNA were mixed. So the divine was imprinted on the helix strands 7, 8, and 9. It stopped for Kakasu at 6. So on Earth, the physical race of Negroids, Africans, held the divine gene. The other two, their etheric counterparts, can be raised. Okay? So that's your Dravadu, okay, and Mangalu. They have the potential to be raised. All right? Any questions on that? No questions?
Dravadu,
Mm.
Hindu,
Mm-hmm.
Nirvanians, or Nirvana.
Nirvanians. Nirvanians.
Basically, why?
Yeah.
1, 2.
Yeah.
Why is it they're more? It's almost like the society pushes that. What's it called, through the system, whereas
Pushes what through the system?
now I'm saying like yoga,
Oh, right.
meditation,
There's spiritual
Eastern philosophy.
Eastern philosophy, yeah.
Yeah, but they don't push African philosophy. It's almost like they kind of like restrict it from. They go as far as yoga,
Yeah.
and that's it. They kind of stop there. But then you go into it, it's more like they're teaching their own kind of sciences within Hindu. Whereas they have to be raised up. I'm saying, why are they going to be raised up if they're doing sciences? Yeah.
This, I mean, if you notice, like most Mangalu or Dravadu, they keep to their spirituality.
Yeah.
You with me? But it's they're keeping themselves. I mean, a lot now have become westernized. Most are becoming westernized and they're losing their true tradition and culture, you know. But essentially, when you look at the Mangalu, especially the Asian race, yeah, they're all about their culture and their spirituality and feng shui and things like that. And most Western philosophies have actually borrowed from those concepts.
Yeah.
You with me? The reason being is that if they keep in tune with their spirituality, it's far easier for them to make the transition. You see, the reason why we know that there's a concentrated effort on destroying us because we're the divine seed, but they don't know that in destroying us, it also affects them. And the Luciferians or the demigods or the hybrids who are of the Luciferian seed, their whole intent is to prove, you see what I'm saying, that we're not worthy. Yeah, we're not worthy of inheriting higher forms of existence, being able to inherit a soul or have a soul, because we're not worthy of it. So they won't cover the African spirituality because it's a concentrated effort. They only cover the Eastern philosophies, etc., because it won't benefit. Sorry, it doesn't benefit us, it benefits them. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah. The reason, I mean, when you look at the cycles of history, yeah, going on from when it became Christianity, etc., the whole essence was to destroy who we were, to destroy and eliminate and eradicate knowledge of ourselves and our memories. And so that's been done, or has been done for over 6,000 years, where there's been concentrated effort on destroying who we originally are and where we came from, etc. And then push up their spirituality, you see? So you'll never find any true writings of our spirituality or what we did in order to connect with nature, etc. So hence, again, going back to the title, is this the way? You know, once now that you found it, is this the way for you? Or are you still attracted to other spiritual practices?
Well, based on evidence, what's the way? Based on evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Evidence,
Yeah, sound right reasoning is what, yeah, exactly. This.
I'm saying in terms of the actual process of this initial process, this is like you're kind of saying, but you're saying literally now, it's like all the going through this turmoil.
Yeah.
And the turmoil consists of A, B, C, D. Must go through these processes to get eliminated. If you go, you know what I mean? So let's say you have a docking point.
Yeah.
So let's say you're not in the docking point at the precise time. Would that be, obviously people who are sad, I'll use a docking point as an example. So if you're not in the docking point at the same time,
right,
at the right time, you get it.
Yeah, because it's a transition. You're making a transition through the shift is taking place, whether we like it or not. Do you see what I'm saying?
We don't use a docking point, like Star Wars kind of thing. So you do actual
a space station, you mean?
Quantum Leap.
Yeah.
Quantum Leap, that program, I realized what the program was showing, literally your being can transfer to body.
Exactly.
Without being physical.
Yeah.
So therefore the mental capacity of the gene or the cell can be processed into the actual gene pool.
Yeah.
And physically through that actual wormhole.
Yeah.
To come through physically.
That's right. Because the more you have to be, as I mean, dimensional shift explains it. Your DNA calibration, just what I'm saying, has to be right in order for you to be able to go anywhere. You with me? You're not going to pass through certain dimensional gates if you haven't calibrated yourself. You know, if you haven't raised yourself to a certain vibrational frequency, mental, physical, and etheric.
So then you're looking at intellectual high capacity.
Literally, well, I mean, we were saying earlier, the master teacher hasn't said study, 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 teach for no reason. You with me? The reason why is because I was listening to an old doctrine that he was teaching from, and it says he's here to raise us to a level to be able to turn ourselves into ether again, because we're not humans. We're etheric beings. Just what I'm saying, we're supreme beings. Exactly. And being that you're a supreme being, it's not just the acknowledgement of it, but it's also the practice of it. And when you start to practice that you are a supreme being, and then your powers start to get activated, that's when you're going to start noticing. It may not happen overnight, because the whole thing is that the children are the future. Our children are our salvation. So when we're doing what we're doing, it gets passed through our children. You see what I'm saying? Because eventually, if you haven't raised yourself to a certain height, you can come through your children to continue whatever you needed to do to perfect your being. You see, so it's our job to perfect our being so that we have children that are resilient enough, mentally high enough, you see what I'm saying, to be able to take certain changes that are affecting the planet at the moment. Because as the frequency changes, the children will also be changing. You see what I'm saying? So
epigenetics.
Epigenetics,
The planet Earth is changing, blah, blah, blah.
That's right.
So in terms of the actual, this is weird, because basically it's a science. Is there a science program gone wrong there?
What do you mean? Whose science program?
No, I'm saying like the genetic programming, because obviously
for who?
There was like for the beings that left us there.
Yeah, it has gone wrong.
Yeah, so basically, we're testing you. We're testing this to the process like what they call an experiment.
No. We want an experiment because originally, remember, the beings that came as Ogdoads,
Yeah,
they were supposed to perfect certain tasks.
yeah,
Once they perfected those tasks, that's the task that we get. When you read and listen to the atomic, the atomic,
Yeah,
it talks about, it talks
Yeah.
about you're supposed to achieve your purpose,
yeah.
and then you're able to then transmute and transform.
Like
You see what I'm saying? Like an apple achieves its purpose.
Yeah.
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 What happened was, as we stayed here longer and longer on the planet,
Yeah.
and through the different cycles that was taking place,
Yeah.
17 million years became a cycle, and that's when the fall of Leviathan, the fall of 6 ether forces, and we started giving birth, just what I'm saying, to more weaker genes. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So the evolutionary process of being able to transform and transmute started to dwindle. And we start to forget less and less about our origin. And instead, we start now becoming more physical.
I wasn't forgot. Just kind of didn't.
No, we forgot. We became what's the word? Amnesia. We had amnesia. We started to lose our heightened abilities, our powers, our knowledge, our mental abilities. It started to wean and weaken. You see, that's why we gave birth to weaker children who became your Dravadu. You see what I'm saying? And from the Dravadu, they gave birth to weaker children through the cycle, which were your Caucasians. You see, but the job now of the master teacher, the 24,000 years is here, is also now to recalibrate those DNA.
Yeah.
And again, as I mentioned, the way for you or for us, if you accept it this way, is to recalibrate your genes by way of how? The chanting, the language, divine love, ashuk for each other, etc. All of these things is helping you recalibrate your DNA. You see, and your genetic field is linked into your ancestors who exist I see you, my sister. Yeah, they exist in a what's you call it? A parallel, galaxy to us. Because Risk is a replica, is a sister or planet to Earth.
That's what I was saying to Sir Kevin like ages ago.
Okay. Yeah, we're connected to Risk in that way. We're just reading in Dimensional Shift. Correct, Zama? Yeah. Go on, Zamata.
So you have like great examples of all the other practices, like certain things we eat, chant, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So specifically, when you're saying the practice of loving each other in a shock, how would you go about actively practicing that?
So as we teach, right, ashok is a verb, it's an action. You with me? And as the masters always said, you can have all those other, things about you, those qualities. But if you don't have a ashok, it's be worth nothing. Like today, we went out to propagate. You get what I'm saying? We did this, we did that. But if I didn't have ashok within what I did, it'll be worth nothing. So when I'm with my brothers and sisters propagating, there's certain things that we will do with each other, and we will respect each other, we'll work together, we'll come home together, and that's what we did. We jumped into the car together and came here. We were practicing our shuk towards each other. You see what I'm saying? And our shuk resonates and it gets stronger. So you will take that leap forward in embracing ashuk by practicing it, by showing that care that you have for an individual or for a brother or sister, because ultimately you are the same. Just what I'm saying, as the master said, you're just in different skin suits, but really and truly, we're all the one being. When you start to look at that, how if I affect myself or if I hurt you, I'm actually hurting myself. So when you're able to transcend the me, myself, and I principle, and you start to go into the us and the we, you with me, you start to realize that I can't afford to hurt you. Because when I hurt you, I'm putting that energy into the morphic genetic field. When you start to realize that as a supreme being, then all you can do is practice Ashuk. Because Ashuk doesn't want to hurt or destroy or unbalance and cause dissension and what's the word? unity. Yeah, that's Ashok is all about unity and dealing with, if somebody hurts you, being able to deal with that person, do you know what I mean, in a holistic way by having conversations and then working on the conversation, and then growth comes from that. You with me? By accepting, okay, this is what happened. This is what happened. All right, how are we going to resolve it? You see what I'm saying? And that's how you're practicing Ashok, because you're all about resolving things. You're not just trying to just have an issue with an individual and then harbor that, because once you start to harbor that, you're allowing the elemental forces to then work off of your emotions. You see what I'm saying? And these elemental forces, when you start to work off your emotions, you'll be like, why should I bother? Do you know what I mean? It's not worth it anymore. I might as well just go about my business because this person did this, or these people are hurting me and I don't feel comfortable with them anymore. You see what I'm saying? But when you start to ride on that wave, these elementals, it gives them access to your mind. It gives them access to your emotions. And then they can play about with you. Do you understand? Yeah, so Ashok is just literally you practicing it on a daily basis. I'll give you an example of what you did with Ashok with me the other time when I was here and you bought a pack of your crisps, plantain chips. It may seem small and insignificant, just what I'm saying, but you started with care. Yeah, and that care thought and that principle is what you initiated. And that is Ashok. You see what I'm saying? Because you didn't know what kind of situation I was in. I could have been really hungry, but you must have obviously picked up on something, do you know what I mean, to offer me. You with me? So you're working off of that. You're not working off of, why should I buy him something to eat today? I could just save my money and go home. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, so that's the principle of Ashok. And the more you practice it and the more you start to realize that this thing does actually work, the unity in the thing is actually working because you resonate certain frequency. Be around the master teacher, you see Ashok because he was always giving. And the more you give, the more you receive. Just what I'm saying? Yeah. Don't get me wrong, it ain't gonna happen overnight. Because you're gonna have times when you can like, I don't want to be around this person or these people or whatever because they make me feel a certain way. But then it's all about transcending, you know what I'm saying, and changing and transforming. And the more you practice it, the easier it gets. The easier it gets. Yeah. All right. Zama.
On the same topic of Ashok. The job that the job I do, right?
Sure.
I get abused.
Okay. Well, then.
I don't take abuse.
All right. Let me just pull the volume up. Go on. Speak up.
Yes. Like I said, I get abused.
Mm-hmm.
I don't take well with abuse. I give it back.
Mm-hmm.
Twice, you know the job I'm doing.
Yeah, two.
Go to the spot in my face.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to fix them up, you know, brush them up nicely and so. That was the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Second one, you have to take him to the hospital. This is a cockasoo to my mental issues. We were talking, and all of a sudden, he started telling me about his children and everything.
Just raise your voice a bit so they can hear.
And
yeah, that's better.
He said something to me, and I said something back to him, and he didn't like it. He spat in my face.
Mm-hmm.
First one spat in my face, and I have to fix him up. You know what I mean? Dress him up nicely. And this one, at the hospital now, not meds.
Mm-hmm.
And he spat in my face.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was in the hospital, I couldn't dress him up and, put on nice clothes on him. You know what I mean? So I have to go and just, you know what I mean? Because I can't leave no mark on him, milk is, you know what I mean? Do a show. So, what you're saying then, should I just take the abuse and just relax?
How strong is your mind?
No, this is what I'm saying now.
Yeah.
Why the thing is,
you shouldn't take abuse, but how strong is your mind? Because the master teacher gave an example in the mind book about where somebody stabbed a student or something. I can't remember the exact scenario. If anyone's read the mind book, and he was after revenge. Yeah, so he came up to the guy and is about to do him something wicked. And then the person hopped and spat in his face. And he said, the person then turned, who was about to stab him, he turned and he walked away. So he was saying in that, it's not that you weren't practicing a shook, but how strong is your mind? Because your mind has got to be so strong, yeah, that doesn't even phase you, because you know that the inner being is the real you and not the outer shell.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is,
yeah,
if you allow that to slide, they'll always do it.
That's why I said to you, it's not that it's not a shook, because a shook doesn't mean it's weak. A shook doesn't, nowhere is the master taught that a shook should be weak. Yeah, a shook is strong, but at the same time, how strong is your mind with a shook? You see what I'm saying? So if somebody does do you something, you with me, it's how you deal with it at that particular time. You with me? Yeah, and there's multiple scenarios that I can give. You know, my children could do something like, give an example where your child could drop your tablet, your phone, and into the water, into the toilet, because children do things like that. Yeah. Now, as a parent, you with me? You could have all your things on there, all your history, and this and that. But what are you gonna do?
The child says you can't really do.
But that's a shook. You see what I'm saying? So you have to now look at that individual. What state of the mind are they in? Where they're coming from, you know, and then know that it's a loss of something, but has it taken away from your true spirit? Has it taken away from your being, your essence? If you lose your temper now and you start to blatter him up and kick him and that's when you've lost.
Well, the first one, you have to fix him up.
Yeah, so you lost your mental ability, your mental faculty, your mental strength.
No, but the thing is,
okay, go
he came back.
Yeah.
2 weeks after.
Yeah.
When he saw me, because I really, fixed him up easily.
Yeah.
When he saw me, he was. Oh, so the medicine work.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is, you what you did, okay, and you lace him up, okay, you lace him up.
Yes.
What I'm saying is, you lost your mental faculty, you lost your mental strength. You
So
see what I'm
what should I
saying?
have done?
You walk away.
But they're gonna keep on doing it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So this is the situation. If they keep on doing it, remove yourself out of the equation. Let somebody else deal with it. But wait, what should I do? Okay, go on. Yeah.
What's
tackle this one? Wait.
No.
You wanna jump on that one too? All right. Okay.
Yeah.
No, just please.
Yeah.
One-on-one. What's the reward?
What's the reward for?
Yeah, what's the reward for walking away?
What's the reward?
Yeah, what's the reward for walking
Peace
away?
of mind. You might not see that as a reward.
Someone that let me see. Yeah, peace of, you can have peace of mind regardless. You know what I mean? That you might just experience a moment of peace of mind. You know what I'm saying? But
when? After they spat in your face, you mean? Or
I'm talking about yeah, what I mean, you say peace of mind, but I don't know. Does that affect that?
You see now, let me bring some to you. Let's read dimensional shift again. Yeah.
Zamal.
Remember, you're raising yourself in degrees of mental strength. Okay, when you're learning Wu-Sabat, you're gonna go through certain trials and tribulations. You with me? Yeah.
So does that lower your spiritual energy?
That's what anger. That's what anger does. Anger lowers your spiritual energy.
Okay.
You with me? You got to be in control. The sister wants to.
Okay. What if you decide, right?
Like him.
Has come to disrespect you, and you are aware of the situation. You're like, okay, this person has obviously come to disrespect me today. What if you take a moment to walk away from the situation, pat in your mind, and come back to be like, I just want to show you out of a shook why it is important for you to know that not everybody in life you can cross because you don't know everybody's mindset. So I'm gonna wrap you up now, but I'm wrapping you up so that you can learn not to go about doing this to everyone. I'm not gonna wrap you up to put you in hospital. I'm not gonna wrap you up to
just a little wrap.
But I'm just gonna wrap you up a little bit so that you can remember that what you're doing is not okay.
And what state? And at what state were you in when you did that?
I went and I packed my mind and I come back.
And then did what?
I roughed them up a bit so that he can learn.
So why would you rough them up?
So that they can learn, because
why rough? Why rough?
If you don't,
why rough though? Why?
Because if you don't, you therefore don't discipline them to discipline.
Is that
themselves.
the only point of discipline? Is that the only form of discipline?
That's one form of discipline.
Okay, so you now as a being have to find other forms and of ways of discipline.
Yeah, but remember, it's depending on the person. Like, I'm not gonna go to an old woman and be like, yeah, I'm gonna rough you up right now, because that is not appropriate for the situation. And that person's mindset might not need that roughing up because they're already fragile.
But you won't know that.
What do you mean?
You won't know that the person's mindset.
But you know what? I don't know.
Listen,
Based on what we practice, we're supposed to be learning to have certain gifts that allow us to learn how to read people. So what if you did have that gift to read people and then you roughed them up because you knew?
But then you've lost the balance. That's what I'm saying. It's all about, see, mental focus and mental energy is very important. Just what I'm saying. So being that you raise yourself to a certain degree, okay, you don't have to use physical force, because the moment you do that, you've lost mentally. You see what I'm saying? The moment you use physical force to resolve a situation, you've lost mentally. It's better that you are able to look at that person, okay, and assess them for what they are, and let them go through the process, themselves, and understand why they're going through that process. If they don't understand or don't learn that lesson, it's on them. But for you to use physical aggression, you with me? Then that means you've lost your own mental faculty. You've actually dropped down to their level. Or you've dropped down to a level where you're no longer utilizing your mental faculty. You're using your emotional being. And your emotions are what gets us into all the different problems, because we're utilizing energy emotion, which means that you're opening yourself up to allow other beings to get stronger inside you or externally. These are your elementals. Do you see what I'm saying? I didn't say it's an easy route. Yeah. What I'm saying is that there are practices that will allow you to get to a certain. Don't get me wrong. If you have to defend yourself, it's different. You with me? If you have to defend yourself, it's different. But if you're going out just to prove your point by using physical, whether light or heavy it is, you see what I'm saying? You've lost that mental faculty that you're meant to be on as a being, as a supreme being. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Is anyone on Zoom?
Yeah, there's people on Zoom. Why? Rahubat, anybody on Clubhouse or Zoom who have a question?
Yeah. Zamal, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. And I've heard everything you said.
Yeah.
But you know, when you read, I'm trying to think of the Partarak, yeah, where the master teacher Baba Yanun is explaining that when it comes
who's talking?
Another Sabian, if you've fallen out with another being and they want to reconcile and whatever, that you reconcile with them because they're another Sabian. And but it also mentions in that same, but I can't remember the name of the Partarak, that it says that when we don't, what was the phrase that it was used in the Partarak? It's like we don't shun away, like if it's coming to you.
That's what I said. That's what I said about if you're defending yourself is different.
Okay.
That's what I said. If you're defending yourself, it's different. We are not taught to be. That's what I said. Love is not weak. At the beginning, love is not weak. It's not a force to be reckoned with. At the same time, it shows, or should I say, that a shook that we're supposed to practice. Okay, it shows the ability to be steadfast. Just what I'm saying, yeah. And this is what some of us are working on. Some of us have it already, and some of us are lacking. Do you know what I mean? The ability to really show this. I mean, look, if you take it to a larger grand scale, and you
Sure.
look at Partner Babyanun. Let's look at the being that has come for us. Where is he now? Super Ad Max prison. Yeah, Super Ad Max prison. How many hurts, how many shots has he had being in there because somebody decided to write a letter, okay, or somebody tried to submit something into the BOP, etc., and he got shots. Did he say, you know what, I'm not going to write them any more updates. I'm not going to give them the next update from the Ethereums or the ancestors. He's upset with us because we are his children, and he's chastised us in a way where we have to now straighten up and get ourselves together. You see what I'm saying? But he's never stopped giving us a shook. Never. And those who know the being know what I'm talking about, or understand and trying to understand who this being is to us, know what I'm talking about. And it's also when you're, in that state where you understand your true essence, you're a supreme being. A supreme being, just I'm saying, works towards finding other ways and other solutions. And sometimes the cycle is not right yet. This is why they work on cycles. If you notice, we've gone through the worst cycle, 6,000 years. We've also had a 24,000 year cycle, but they don't just intervene straight away. They have to see it play itself out. Okay. Sometimes you have to have a situation where it has to play itself out for those individuals to recognize what's happening to them.
To us, Amal. At the same time, is it like saying, like, I think I remember reading that, like, I think it was the term Ethereum used at the time, that an Ethereum would let you
shoot them,
rather than do anything. Okay, exactly. So we're getting to that higher level of mind, mind.
Exactly. To us. Okay, I got that for. Does that make sense? What the Zamata is saying? Yeah, we are Ethereans. Put that into your mind's eye somewhere, and then start working on becoming an Etherean. Yeah, because I say that's the ultimate, where you can stand here and somebody will shoot you, but because you know you can transcend and move through other dimensions, they're not emotional. They keep their emotions in check. You with me? And that's the level that we have to aspire to become as one of them. Okay, so we're babies. We're going through the process. Okay, and it's hard for some people and it's easier for others. All right, Rahul Bazama. Any questions on Club? I think someone did pop up. I think if not, let me go to the chat and see if there's any questions in there. Ashok.
Zamal.
Yeah, Rahul.
Yes, but once again, I could follow up, especially the sisters, the comments they were making regarding divine love. But the brother couldn't hear it clearly. I think it was away from his with microphone or something.
Oh, okay.
Because I think you were answering the question, but I couldn't hear him clearly.
Oh, can you hear me now?
I hear you perfectly. I'm talking about the brother, I think is in class physically there.
Okay.
I think that I have the same question as him as well. I just couldn't hear him clearly.
But yeah, go on.
Because this thing of divine love, we are looking into more on the physical confrontation, but we can also extend it to other areas of life, such as relationships, business, because people can take it's taken mostly as weakness when we don't react as socially expected because we are mentally strong. And when it comes to business, when it comes to relationships, it would be suitable to dedicate the divine love for those that have the same principles and values as well, because there would be some kind of reciprocity right there. Because I have this experience as well that is taken as weakness and people tend to take advantage of as well.
Yeah,
just
because
they don't take confrontation.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you. You know what they're saying? They're saying is don't take my kindness for weakness.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's like I said, we're all a work in progress, and that's all I concern no matter. I can't tell you, oh, you need to change straight away, or you need to accept. I'm not saying you need to or trying to force you into anything. What I'm saying is there is a process of attaining that supreme state. And sometimes you have to go through those imbalances in your nature, okay, and in other people's nature, and see them for truly. Look, like the master said, look at a brother or sister and look them into their heart. Look at into their eyes and into their heart. You see what I'm saying? When I can look at a brother in the eye or a sister in the eye and tell them my true feelings, you with me? And they're not gonna what's the word? Abuse it or laugh at it, etc., and really work towards becoming, you know, as one. That's when we've achieved that level. And as like I said, some people are working on that. Some people are struggling with that. So I'm not going to be standing here and saying, all I'm saying that the master teachers taught that you can reach those heights of perfection. You with me? But it's a gradual process. And if we're in the image and likeness of beings that are raised to a certain level where being shot or being spat at doesn't affect them, because they know that it's about the true essence of their being, not their physical. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It does. However, it still doesn't answer when it comes to relationships and business as well.
Well, what is it about? What is about relationship that it may be an issue? I mean, is it all right? Let me start from the basics. The master teacher says, even in relationship, you have to learn to care. The first and foremost thing about Ashuk, divine love, he said, before we even get to that stage, yeah, let's get back to the basics. Learn to care for one another. You know, I mean, I can only give an example from where I'm coming from because obviously I'm in a relationship, etc. Right? So, for instance, I'm going to give you a perfect example of my own personal thing. My missus likes tea, okay? I don't like making tea. Okay, I don't like making tea for her in the morning. So I say, no, I don't like. I didn't like making tea in the mornings. I didn't think it was needed. You with me? Yeah? But then as time went on and I practiced applying certain things, like what's the harm in making tea? It only takes like 2 minutes and you stir a cup and you take it up to her. And just what I'm saying? Those were simple but important things in our relationship. Just what I'm saying? When she needed care in a sense of if she, you know, she was going through an operation, whatever, I had to be there and show the care and bring her food and things like that. You with me? I could have been, I don't want to do this because it's taking up my time. You with me? I have to go and do my thing. But then when you start working on the I principle, the ego is the obstacle to divine reality. Read the mind book. That's what it says. Yeah. So I wasn't working off the principle of the ego. I was working on the principle of care, learning to care. And the more I practiced and the more I did it, okay, I'm only talking from my own personal experience. So others can apply it to their own lives. But as the more you practice whatever you seem so difficult, you with me, or as a hindrance in your mind, it's not really a hindrance because it's a mental thing. When you're able to step over that obstacle in your mind, it becomes easier. And most of us have mental blockages. And it stems mostly from relatives that are inside our DNA. So you need to now start recognizing that there's 30 spirits that are inside of you who also influence the way you think and the way you feel and the way you act and the way you behave. They influence us. Then you go couple that with their ancestors who are from both sides of your family. So when you start to recognize the quantum, okay, reality, the ultimate reality that we are quantum beings, that the things that affect us and influence us is actually coming from these etheric forces and these spiritual forces that attack us on a day-to-day basis, you have to, going back to the title of the scroll, of the book, is this the way? Patarak is my way. So I would then apply what the master teachers taught me. Apply care, apply divine love. Say Ashok to a brother and sister. You with me? Then produce the evidence that you're showing Ashok. Say what you're going to do when you intend to do it. These are things I'll show you. I'll repeat again. You're not always going to get it right the first time. You're not going to get it right the second or third time. But the fact is that if your intentions are right and your intentions are good and you want to keep pursuing that path of Patarak, then it will work out in the end and you'll get the respect and the love and all the other things that come with it. You with me? It's a journey. I'm not gonna lie, it's a journey. So I just gave you that as a scenario in my own personal relationship, etc. But you can apply that to almost anything, work-wise, etc. You know, and sometimes you have to just step back. Is it me? Could I be, you know, what's going on in my own being? Because sometimes there's a book called Reflection and Projection. Yeah, and reflection and projection shows you that there's spirit forces that sometimes can project into your mind's eye their own feelings. You see what I'm saying? And that hinders a relationship. In fact, let me try and bring it up. Let me try and bring it up and read it.
That's an interesting theme, by the way. Very interesting.
Oh, okay.
Because when it comes to, as you look for the book, when it comes to relationships, my experience tells that it's not even difficult to love, but what the reality is, the more the man gives love, the less is respected socially. That's a fact.
Okay.
And when it comes to business as well, you can have the best intention, the best business models and service in order to compete in our market. But at the other hand, instead to have a good deal with your clients, you may have faced a situation that you're scammed, for example. That's when the situation that I was telling that maybe if your relationship, you're dating in the culture, maybe you have more chances to give that space for growth and reconciliation and business as well. I was looking more in that angle because what is the point to wait for someone to learn their lesson if they're not working on themselves?
Yeah, but you see, and again, be the best example that you can be in business, in relationship, etc. You know, and the more, like I said, one of the things that is your intentions. Are your intentions pure, and are you going to do your best to fulfill those intentions? Do you understand? Because again, let's take it into the doctrine, Wu-Sabat. You have ascending masters and descending masters. And these masters are recording everything that you are doing. And they make decisions on whether you are going to come back or move on to a higher dimension or higher state. You with me? So if your intentions are genuine and you've followed them through, you with me, it gets easier and your rewards will come. Yeah. So this is, and again, you have to also allow that person the space for them to grow too. Yes, it is going to seem stifling. Yes, it is going to seem like it's drawn out because why isn't this person elevating the way I am? You're going to have a whole conundrum of questions in your mind because I know I have, do you know what I mean? But it's through patience and diligence and constantly battling through a shook and care towards one another. You with me? I mean, I'm not going to stand here and boast and brag, but there's scenarios where, you know, you see a brother in need and then you will stop and ask the brother, you okay? Do you get what I'm saying? What's going on? Do you need a lift? These are all things. There's a time when we broke down. Remember that those two brothers that were broke down on the motorway? Everybody was driving by, didn't give a care. We stopped, jumped out, helped him push the car up to a hill. This is all care and divine love. You put yourself out of the equation, even, you know, you got to be safe, of course, but you know, you just, there's just certain things that you just have to just transcend. And it gets easier and easier as you do it. That's all I can say to you, you know. But let me try and see if I can find. Here we go. Sorry, let me read. Okay. First and foremost, know that your ancestors, okay, are in your genetics. Okay. Secondly, know that when you exchange bodily fluids, parents exchange body fluids, they're accepting ancestors into your very being. Okay? So I read from verse 20, reflection and projection. Your Muslafu ancestors' blood flowed in your mother and grew with you in her Raham womb and became part of you. Even now, passing on and affecting your Akal mind, Khatat body, and Ka'a spirit. And whomever exchanged khatat mayat body fluids with, while they were hayu alive in this physical tapa world, also enter your blood, DNA, and your khas'at genes to affect your lives. The things they did to their khatat art bodies and desired in their lives, the things they were addicted to in their lives, all are passed on inside them from outside the Raham womb. You yourself are affected by one less of the 30 Ka'a'u spirits because you are the 30th personality. If your Manashtri parents are still alive, that's 2 other personalities or spirits less of the 29. And without you, that makes the 27. If your grandparents are still alive, then 25 Ka'a'u spirits affect your life. Yet, all of the Shakhasu people, they each exchanged Khatat Maya'at body fluids with, can enter into the placenta and can enter into your Mukwan being and affect your dream state as well as awake state with images projected. Verse 29. So a person is or can be open to many Ka'a'u spirits, each Zamut day and Garut night of their lives. They can be used and abused by those Ka'a'u Mukwan spirit beings, Wawed Ka'a'u good spirits, and or Gawil Ka'a'u evil spirits. And from generation to generation, it builds up to the 4th generation before they are too weak to generate spirit Sakham'at powers to cross over. Now, if these beings link to a person who welcomes their Dawil evil ways or has their own evil ways, the Mukwan being or Ka'a'u spirit specters can use electric energies around that person to draw Sakham power and build the electric Nashat energy to cross over into the person or an object. Okay, so part. Right. Verse 41. Many will attach to a person or Yasar family because of like the Wa'at evil, such as lust, drugs, and drunkenness, and follow that person or Yasar family and affect their lives for the worst and frighten them. Use khawaf, fear, torment, or just appear at the time of their Mawat death. There's a part where it talks about sorry, I'm coming. I'll find it. There you go. Yeah. Verse 63. Musbatu, Sabians, remember, the Ka'a'u spirit or Mushdar, spectre, spook, one who appears linked to you by your khas'at genes or mixing, uses what you think against you to affect your life. If you think hate, they use it. Hurt, they use it. Kanan'i, jealousy, they use it. Lie, they use it. Steal, they use it. Or flirt, they use it. So any and all thoughts can be transformed into actions. The Wawid good thoughts as well. Okay, I'll leave it at verse 65. So just when you are able to recognize the quantum reality of all of this that's going on.
What is the title you just said?
Yeah.
Basically, bound by words. Meaning that the guy we spoke earlier, relationships and stuff, but relationships is still relate. Just relate. Don't relate, they don't relate. In terms of that ship business, the ship, I'm using those kind of long terminology.
Yeah.
That's all ship. Going somewhere.
Something going somewhere. That's right. That's right. Exactly. Exactly. That's right. Yeah.
Point. What I'm making is look at the actual dynamics of the what's it called? The ghosts. Book, not the Patrak.
Yeah.
The ghost.
I haven't got that book on.
On a tape ages ago, Pop said, what's it called? You never seen him. Meaning that you never seen the real you. Because of this physical realm. So the real you, you'd be scared of.
It could frighten you. If the real
So
you
basically,
manifested, yeah.
remember, yeah, so basically what I'm saying is the whole
Mm-hmm.
physical entrapment, yeah, is based on
Lust,
that's
desire,
what I'm saying.
exactly,
That's
all
what
of
I'm
these
saying.
things,
We're
yeah.
bound by words.
Yeah, we're bound, yeah.
Because the words so
Entraps
associate with
you.
your feelings. And your feelings associate with your spirit.
That's right.
And your spirit associated with your blood.
Exactly.
And your blood goes to your genes.
Genes, yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's why I said the quantum. You need to start looking at a quantum level now. It's not just this immediate physical anymore. Yeah. Now that you're a being that's understanding that there are ultimate realities, there are other realms of existence.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Once you understand that, you have to be very mindful. That's why, again, mind your mind for the jewels of your soul.
Yeah.
You with me? You have to be very mindful of how you approach things, do things, take things to another level, etc. Yeah. The matter. Oh, sorry. Before, is it on the same topic? Kind of ish. Okay. Well, I got Yvonne. If you have a question, is it on the same topic?
Yes. Yes, I suffer from bipolar depression, SI, and I was speaking to my husband about ancestors. He told me to read the book, The 30 Spirits. I did that. He explained to me, how the ancestors have good and bad in them. It's in 180-degree, half and half thing. But my question is this: how do you stop? I read the 30 book, the 30 spirits, but what can I do to stop negative spirits or negative beings? What can I do?
Okay. When you say stop, yeah, you talking in the sense of how to manifest in your behavior or in your thoughts, you mean?
Well, yes, because I really, really believe that my bipolar depression and SI is from that. My father, well, he was never in my life. My stepfather raised me, and I found out that I was mixed through him. So I have a little Caucasian in me that's negative. I know this. So my question is, because I have that in my blood, what can I do to stop that from coming forward?
Okay. My partner Bayonon put it this way in an old up breakdown. Label each personality with a color or some kind of name or something. You with me? Whatever you find. So if you know there's Uncle Ted or Auntie, whatever that's coming through, learn to differentiate that personality by looking at what is this person doing. Are they trying to create dissension and an argument, or are they trying to, or are these thoughts, are they mine? Are they my thoughts? Do I really want to go into with my relationship and have an argument with my partner who I say I care for and etc. These are the things. So you label each aspect of your moods with a color. That's what he broke down. And then once that starts to surface, you say, is this really my thought? Do you know what I mean? And in being able to ascertain if it's a good thought, you can label it green. If it's a negative thought, you can label it obviously red. It's associated with negativity. So you would then be able to differentiate if that thought is beneficial or is it going to be a hindrance and cause commotion in your life. And this, I know, and these are the things that you are able to do as a conscientious and conscious being, and the more you practice that, the more it gets strong. It's all about practice and constant, repetition within Wu-Sabat. Does that help?
Yes, that's actually exactly what my husband said, except for the color. He didn't get deep into the color part.
Oh, okay.
When you say color, well, first of all, with the SI, like I said, I know for sure it's from my father's side, and it's been something I've been struggling with very heavy. Physically and mentally, is there something that I can do to stop the SI from happening and realizing who's coming forth to make me have the SI?
Okay. I don't know what you've discussed with your husband, and obviously, all out of all due respect, obviously that you're in the relationship together, and you know, I'm sure you've worked out certain things and certain rituals or practices, but when you look at the 99 attributes of our ancestors or the principles of our ancestors, there's certain formulas and qualities within those ancestors that we're calling on. And there's a particular prayer part called Hafudznia, protect me. You with me? So there's those things that you can use, or you can start doing Anun, Atum, Atun. These are vibrations and frequencies, okay, that's linking into those dimensions. And you're drawing that energy into this dimension, and then you focus that energy towards you in order to start healing. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's just really important that you said that with the meditation, because, you know, honestly, I don't want to take my life, but with the SI, it's almost like sometimes it goes more, like the negative comes more than the positive, and then I get really close to taking my life, and I know that's not me. I know 100% that's not me. So what I am going to do tonight is do what you just said with the meditation, and I know that's going to help.
Yeah. It's remember, this is quantum entanglement. Once you the master's partner by your known explained to us, study quantum physics. He explained that for a reason, because we have an entanglement with our other dimensions. We are multi-dimensional beings. So when you're able to then utilize the formulas, those formulas are in the tones. You see what I'm saying? So when you're saying these tones, they're formulas that are activating certain cosmic principles in the ether. And when you're able to then direct those cosmic principles into your being, into the cells of your body, into your mental state, etc., that's one thing that he said in Wu-Nawapu. 9 ether visits the mental state of their posterity. You with me? So 9 ether forces work. And remember also that neurogenesis starts to take place when you're doing the chants, where you're starting to grow new neurons, etc. And you're also activating those things called brain newts. If you have a book called Natural Ether Energy, okay, it talks about the brain newts. And there's another book, I can't remember the name of it. It's another Master Secret, where it talks about the level of brain newts that you can actually draw into your brain, because your brain produces the same natural ether as the universe does. And once you're able to then apply that and move, you have to, it's all about the mind and how you're able to visualize and manipulate and move things. You with me? This is what makes us supreme beings, because we're able to access the faculties of the mind to mental. We have that connection. We have that back and forth synergy with the mind and with the mental. Okay, so it's constant practice of it, recognizing when it's coming, and then doing the Anun, Atum, Atun. There's a practice in intelligent design, divine design, and Plot of Old Aliens, where it tells you that when you're chanting these things, you're actually able to tap into the morphic field. Okay.
Thank you so much. I'm going to give more trust into my husband, because he's saying exactly what you're saying. He's been down with, since the ESR days, so yeah. I won't be asking any questions, because he's absolutely right, and so are you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Antata Theatre Falls Amata. Just before you go, I know you're not going to go off straight away, but before you, there's another part I've just been given by one of the brothers. It's from the mind's eye, and you probably, again, you discussed this with your partner already, but it's verse 96. This is why Wu Nawap teaches you to know your own voice, your own tone from those of your ancestors, to prevent whispers from whispering to you suggestions. Things you would never have done, you did because of these emotions of suggestions. Yeah, I'll leave it there. But you can read The Mind's Eye for those who haven't read it. Okay, Tawata. Nice. Okay. Yes.
Thank you so much.
All right, there's a question in. Okay, if the sister, and then we'll just let the females first, yeah? Okay, go on.
I wanted to ask a question in regards to what you said earlier about we would be scared of ourselves if we saw our real selves. I have a couple of questions that are interlocked into each other. So what I'm trying to understand is that because of the lack of understanding of what we have in our minds about what our real selves look like?
That's one.
Okay.
And also
And
your animal self, your animal nature.
Okay. So then I'm also wondering, how do you go about learning not to have that fear? Because I know a lot of the beings hide themselves away from us because they know that we would be scared upon seeing them.
Right.
So would that not be the same for our real selves? Our real selves will not be able to project itself because we would be scared of what we see.
We will be scared of what we see, but again, the practice of calm, telling your mind to be calm, not allowing your animal nature to rise and come to the forefront. Because when you do that, it'll pull away. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, because remember, we have God nature and animal nature. Your animal nature, part of that is your adrenaline. When you have to defend yourself or whatever, that's your animal nature that will come out. But these beings, they will draw, just like the master explained about your ancestors, your relatives, when they come to visit you. You with me? If you get frightened because your animal nature or the adrenaline kicks in, and then they withdraw away. So you have to be in a calm state when you're doing this. And this is where the concentration, relaxation, meditation comes in, doing it on a repetitive basis until you know that. I mean, my experience when it can happen. It happened to the master teacher. Remember when he's talking about when he's walking in Teaneck, New Jersey, and there's a being rose up next to him, walking with him. I mean, can you imagine that as a 9-year-old child having that happen to you? Yeah, so your etheric being can come out. Yeah.
And then the last part of everything I wanted to ask was, in terms of your spiritual journey,
Sure.
In terms of everything that we've spoken about today, would you say that it is better for us to lead more towards hyper-focusing upon ourselves and bettering ourselves, or hyper-focusing on being selfless towards everybody around us?
I'll say a balance of both, because Wu-Sabat or Wu-Nawab teaches balance. So you wouldn't hyper focus on just one aspect. It's a holistic thing. You know what I'm saying? So learning to find the balance between the two, and then knowing your nature and knowing and trying your best to understand the other person or individuals or people that you're around, their natures. You understand? And when you're doing that, you're able to work in synergy and cohesion with each other. Yeah, and this is what we're working to each time we have these classes or we're saying gather together and we chanting and having our events and things like that. The more you come and you participate in these events and things, you're getting to know each other, because what's happening on the physical level is also happening in the spiritual realm. Know this, when you walk into a room, your ancestors are here too. They're also learning. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, and they also come with you to certain events because they also want to experience that love and unity too, because it strengthens them. You understand? So that's what I'm saying. When you start to look things on a quantum level, they might call it a divine level, but it's really understanding that there's an etheric realm, there's a dimensional realm, and you're linked to those dimensions. You see what I'm saying? Yeah? Okay. Yes, young man.
You see when you said that excluding our parents and our grandparents, we'd only have access to 25 of our ancestors. Yeah.
Yeah. You want me to go
because
back
they're
over?
alive, would we gain access to them as soon as they die, or
Yeah. If you bonded with your grandmother and grandfather, mother and father, you really bonded with them, they tell you to go and tidy your room, and you say, we've all been there. You know what I mean? And you certain things that you do when your dad tells you, explains to you certain things, you really keenly want to understand and listen, or your mother tells you that you should do this, because all of those things, you're creating a how can I put it? It's like a filament. You know what a filament is?
a layer?
A layer, or like a spider's web. You see a spider, you can literally see its thread. So it's like a very fine etheric thread. Every time you hug your mother, your father, your brother, etc., you're creating an etheric thread and connection with them. You see what I'm saying? And that's called the bonding. So once you're able to bond on that level, and then when they do transition, it's easier for them to communicate with you. Does that make sense?
Because the connection has been built
Because the
up.
connection has been built. That's right. Sound right reasoning. Good. All right. You have any questions on that? I'll be more than happy to explain.
Oh, what's the morphic realm? Is that
Oh, morphic genetic.
Yeah.
Let me bring it up. It's there's a person called Rupert Sheldrake. Yeah, look him up on YouTube.
How you spell it?
Rupert Sheldrake and morphogenetic field. So he talks about it, and the master teachers explained this from many, many years ago, that we have a connection to fields of dimensions and energies.
And who else? More Sheldrake can do?
So Rupert Sheldrake and obviously Parnabab Yanun, and there's a few others, but Rupert Sheldrake is like one of the pioneers in explaining that, listen, guys, there is a field out there that we are connected to. You with me? And each time we affect that field, it has a effect on us.
In what ways we would affect that field?
Our love for one another, our working towards one another. If you're angry, that goes into the morphic field. If you're sad, that goes into the morphic field. If you did your exam and you got A's, yeah, your thoughts go into the morphic field. You with me?
Mm-hmm.
All of these, because you're learning, and that morphic field is recording everything you're learning. And then it's not just doesn't end there. Everything you learn positively and do positively, it gets passed on to your next generation of children. You see what I'm saying? So it's within our best interest to learn as much as we can about Wu-Sabat, because that's why the children are the future. Because the next generation that are born, the example that they gave was like a lab. They use lab rats, yeah, and they had a cage, and they put the food in a cage, and the rat had to find its way through to get to the food. That generation of rats was, they killed them off in it. And then the next generation of rats, children that were born, they didn't even need how to get there. They knew how to get there without any, because it's been downloaded. So they realized, hold on, how's this happening if there's no being shown what to do? Likewise, as you learn, your next generation that you give birth to, they're also learning because they're connected to that morphogenetic field. You understand? Yeah, so that's how it works. So it's in. Sorry?
Epigenetics.
That's epigenetics. Yeah, that's epigenetics. Exactly.
Does that mean breeding with someone like on your same
it's your best interest to that's one thing we practice is it's called eugenics. Yeah, you know what eugenics is? Okay. Yeah. So
it gets demonized in public, but I know what I mean.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Oh, I've got I won't be able to pronounce your name, but please speak. You've just been brought onto Clubhouse on stage. If you could pronounce your name, I will say your name and where you're calling from. Rahubat TB, I think TB Biowe. Hope I pronounced it right. Okay. Doesn't seem like any. Okay, let me just check on Zoom before. Is any class questions on Zoom, Zamalta? Oh, hold on, he's back. Yes, I can hear you. You're heard loud and clear.
I'm calling from Dakar, Senegal.
Rahubat.
Yeah, the question I got, Rahubat, thank you. The question I got, if you're passing on this to your children and you don't have children after you learn all this.
No.
Does it mean your existing children cannot get it in the metamorphic field?
No, not at all.
Or does it still translate?
It still translates because as 9 ether beings, we're all connected to this morphic field.
Okay, so it's not necessarily by birth.
No, it's more by genetics, genes. Your genes grow in the morphic field of resonance.
Okay, so my existing child that's like 25 years old, if I learn right now, they'll still benefit.
They'll still benefit. That's right. And as we learn together, we create that quantum soup of access to this field of information. It's like, you know what they call now the cloud. Yeah, cloud computing, where everything is uploaded to the cloud. Well, this is a natural form of the cloud.
Excellent. Okay, then the next thing is the 30 spirits. Now, when someone's grandparents die and they had 20 grandchildren,
wow,
grandchildren,
yeah.
So that grandfather or grandparent will now be split into 20, or what happens? They will be present in all the 20.
Yeah, because they're dimensional. That's your dimensional being. So you have a link. All of you will have a link to that. Not that they split. All of you will have a link to that one relative.
Okay, cool. I got it. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Antaka Theatre for Zama. Okay, question now, Zama.
Yeah. Is that why when you have a particular type of thought, whether agreeable or disagreeable, someone on the other side of London can pick up on that energy?
It's quite possible to, yeah. It's dependent on their state of mind. It depends on the state of mind because we're all tapped into that mental reservoir. So, you know, you can send a love to somebody and it travels, you see what I'm saying? And that person may pick it up somewhere around the world who's linked into that morphic field and express it. Or you may get hate the reverse, you see what I'm saying? And then it determine on your state of mind where you've picked that up and your countenance is low. Because remember, now you've received that thought and that impression. It's within that mind, that mind realm. You have ancestors, spirit forces, and you have elemental beings. Now, the fuel to that is your emotions. You see what I'm saying? So you could be walking on the road, minding your own business, somebody splashes you with water. Just say, yeah, that now has changed your orientation from being in a peaceful state to an angry state. You with me? Now that thought that is there, that's just lying low, can now be picked up by that being. You're walking down the road, you're looking at me funny, fool, man.
Yeah.
Get into a fight, or worse yet, stabbing, shooting, whatever the case may be. You see what I'm saying? That's the worst case scenario. But again, the opposite side, love, energy, feelings towards one another, etc. You can also like, hey guys, they might call you a bit weird, like saying, hi, I love everybody. Do you know what I mean? Because people will look at you strange, innit? When you start saying, hey, how you doing, man? You find you good? And like, what's wrong with him? You know, so you do get that as well. But it's all, you know, what's the word? Yeah.
Outside.
So in terms of people what we're saying, there's like karma or yeah, what most people would say would be things like karma or something like that. It's really just the more people feel reflected on other people, what you put in is what comes back to you.
That's correct. That's right. Nature has a way of trying to balance itself. You with me? So it's very important for us to maintain a state of ashok and care and respect for each other. And that's what we've lost ultimately as a race of people. You with me? I mean, people talk about it in the 60s, there was all this love and unity, you know what I mean? 70s, it was happening. It got to the 80s and 90s. The 90s hit, things just started going, you know, with influence of TV, media, etc. Then they did the CERN project in 2008, where they opened up a field. Yeah, there's something called, go and look it up. It's called CERN, C-E-R-N. Okay, CERN is a where they try to find what they call the God particle. Yeah, the boson. And what happened was extraterrestrials had influenced them to create basically a doorway, a gateway, a portal. But they don't know that. They think they're actually doing an experiment, but it's actually influenced because extraterrestrials know what they're doing. They influence human beings or their children to do certain things without them realizing. But they open up a portal into this realm using the sun. And the boson is what they call a particle accelerator. Yeah. So once it does that, it rips the fabric of space. You with me? And that allows beings to come in or beings to go out.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. And that happened. And they're planning to build a bigger one.
It's like a collider or something.
That's it. The Hadron Collider. Thank you. That's the one. You've been reading. I like that. You've been reading. It's good. Okay. Any more questions? Any more questions? Patty, do you have a question?
Hey,
Rahul back.
Yeah, yeah, actually, I just wanted to, I don't know if that sister's still there, but add on to something you said to her, who was talking about, she believes because of her bloodline, she's having, issues with adverse thoughts.
Well,
and I think that you guys tell her to get the Science of Healing book and the Breaking the Spell book. Because one of the things that she has to keep in mind, and she said her mate was the answer. So one of the things the master taught us, we're obviously in a battle between our lower self and our higher self. And some people struggle more with it than others. So, she's struggling with that. This is why we were taught the rituals. So I think it'll be helpful also to tell her about the prayer system, the 939.
Sure.
To help her calibrate her energy, which is why we do it every day, to keep her mind in a certain state of consciousness. Also to remind her about the diet, because of a lot of the food we eat, it creates a negative energy field in our body that gives access to these forces. They feed off of it. So there's just some techniques that can help her with controlling those thoughts and minds, as well as learning concentration rituals, because those thoughts come into your mind and people, they succumb to it. So we have to learn how to center our thoughts so that our thoughts aren't pervaded by adverse forces. So I just wanted to just say those two books, the Science of Healing will help, and Breaking the Spell will help. She can download it for free.
Jamal, we don't advocate that, but yeah. Go on.
Well, because we don't sell it no more. So rather than tell people that we don't have it,
Well, I understand where you're coming from. I understand. I appreciate it's all about your sincerity and your love. So you're not doing it because you're trying to gain any monetary. So I understand.
I'm sorry, Penty, can you tell me the books again? And by the way, I watch all your classes.
Yeah, if Petty, thank you, appreciate it. If you drop it in the chat for Zamalta,
thank you.
That'll be appreciated. Tawata. You there, Petty? I shook to you if you were there. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, don't crash. Don't do that. Drive safely. All right, Zamal. Tawatak again. Yeah, so as the brother said, there's some publications, there's some books, there's lots of rituals, the 939, the chanting, all of that is help. It helps a great deal. Okay.
Where do you find
What's that?
the chanting thing?
Oh, the chant, are you on any of our platforms? You don't have to be. I'm just saying, if you are, I could just easily send it to you.
Yeah.
You're on the platform, yeah.
Telegram.
Oh, or the OSM?
Yeah.
Okay, just type in chanting, or you can even actually, if you want to be part of the chanting group, there's actually a whole group that literally were chanting around the clock all the time. Do you know what I mean? So we can post that. I think it's actually posted in if you do search chant. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Right. Any questions? Any more questions?
Telegram group.
OSM. Ask us anything.
Hi there, this is Jackie.
How about Jackie?
My question is, what happens to the aborted baby, child? A lot of times a woman can go through a lot of guilt and sadness and regrets. So I was wondering, we hear lots of versions as to what happened, but if you can explain it.
Have you got Reflection and Projection? Do you have that book?
No, I don't.
Okay, I'll read from Reflection and Projection.
Okay.
So just trying to, right. Now, when you're saying aborted, are you talking about just loss of a child or aborting a child? Because the mother couldn't look after it or there's complications or something?
Yeah, it's where the mother chooses to abort the child.
Either way, whichever you do, within Wu-Sabat, obviously, we go through, try to be natural, but if there are going to be complications, etc., and you can't really do much about that, and that was your decision. Partner Babyanun has given us an update where you will name the child, give a child a name, and that child will be a protection to you. In verse 51 of Reflection and Projection, it talks about if a couple lost a Khara child in Paraham, the womb, not their fault. That Ka'ah spirit stays with them and grows and becomes the guardian for them. Verse 52, if they acknowledge the Khara child, they will help them while they live. Yeah, so the child will actually help you while you live if you acknowledge that child. So, whatever complications it was, or, whatever you decide, reason why you decide to do it, of your personal choice, etc., know that if you actually acknowledge the child, so there might be a certain ritual you may have to just do, do you get what I'm saying, before going in and doing what you decide. But in essence, if you acknowledge that child will help you while you're still alive. Does that help? Malta?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Just checking. Bit delayed. All right. Tawata. Yeah. Tawat.
In the essence of the planet changing, yeah, in terms of dolphins, how does that reflect on actual walk if we're going through space in terms of like the sound?
So sound of the whales, you mean?
Sound of dolphins.
What about the sound? Does it change in tone, you mean?
In tones?
No, it'll still be the same tone.
Still the same tone?
It's still tone. The tones are the tones.
Okay.
But if you're talking about the octave, remember there's octaves and then there's frequencies.
Yeah.
So obviously F tone will still be F tone.
Yeah.
And then you still move to another octave of an F tone.
So the pitch should be higher.
Yeah, the pitch will be higher depending. You with me?
Yeah.
If it's increased in pitch, then obviously, but
what's saying that being said, would that be higher in terms of like, because we must have back in the day where we thought like, is this risk? Now realize it's a kind of similar planet.
Yeah.
So therefore, if you're going for a warp thread, or basically not warp thread, it's called wormhole.
Yeah.
Would it be coming up to a point where the frequency of the dolphins or the whales be much more higher?
Well, all creatures that are in tune with natural nature make the shift.
Automatically.
Yeah, it's only us who are degraded in DNA.
I get what I'm getting at. It's the frequency the people on the planet are basically dying out rapidly, fast. Yeah. What I'm saying is, the whole point I'm making is, if the actual frequency is getting higher, will we come to a point where we won't need
bodies?
Yeah,
we won't need bodies. He's come here to transform us from solid to liquid to gas. It's that simple. Yeah, so we won't need bodies. Unless, you know what I mean? We won't need this kind of body. Yeah. Yes, Sama. And then you. I would suggest actually for those who are not really affected by the old school lectures, in a sense of, but I thought he's not Islamic, etc. In all the lectures of Partner Babyanun, know that he's always taught or dropped a little jewel or signs of this information. I would urge you to listen to a book, a lecture called Who and What Are You? Yeah, on there, he breaks it down. Quantum physics, just what I'm saying. He tells you about extraterrestrials, and he even laughs. He says, you're not going to believe me, but I don't care. It's going to happen anyway. And we know, and that was in the 80s when he had that lecture. We know now it's happening. Extraterrestrials have been seen. People are seeing this. all of what he said on that tape, you actually will be hearing it. So in that lecture, you're seeing manifest and play itself out now. Yeah, so I urge you to look out for that tape. Yes, my brother.
The lecture is on YouTube?
Yeah, the lecture's on YouTube. Who and what are you? Very,
Okay,
very good lecture. Okay, my brother. Yeah.
There are some fishes that has never been seen before in the ocean lately.
Okay.
All different description. Some huge, some small, some look eerie, some look real demonic. Yes.
Yeah.
You know about it, right?
Yeah.
Is it because of the shift why all this is happening?
You've answered your question precisely. What the cycle now is that extraterrestrials are restocking the planet for the next shift. That's what's happening. It is happening, but that's what I'm saying. Scientists, oceanographers, all these people who are wondering what's taking place or what's happening, how come this new life, etc., know that Gaia, or Mother Earth, is a living entity. So she produces, as long as that seed or germ is dropped in the water, the right conditions will produce life. So extraterrestrials are seeding this planet with life, just like it happened to us over X amount of billion years ago when Ptah sent the seed, his genes, into the dolphin to come to this planet. And then because Ptah was the overseer of the planet of the Sirius star system, you with me? So when he sent it here, we evoluted and they restocked the planet with our life form and many other life forms that diverged into many different things. But yeah, essentially, yeah, that's what's happening. Yeah, right.
Zamal, I think Jackie's had her hand up on
Oh,
Zoom.
sorry. Apologies, Jackie. Please ask your question.
I meant to put it down, but I'll just ask another question.
Yeah, go ahead.
How old is the Earth? We hear so many discussions and different numbers of the year for the Earth.
Okay, well, the thing is, the Earth has been through many birthday records. So the existing current number is 4.5 billion. You see what I'm saying? But it has had many birthday records. Remember, Tiamat, Tiwawat, Gaia, all the different names of the planet, Tamtu, okay, has been through different cycles. And each cycle, they have to replenish and restock. So the one that we're currently in is going on again. But essentially, 4.5 billion is when the planet shot from the sun and, started to rotate and got caught in this gravitational pull. That's happened many, many times.
And so, like in the Bible, we talk about Adam and Eve, and that was when the time that the earth was created,
Yeah, there's been many replenishing that's taken place on Earth. So the one that we know of in your Bible story is just a mere 6,000 years ago.
Right.
We had replenishing 42,000 years, replenishing. Remember, this was a particular species. They are known as the Adamites. There was other beings on the planet also that have different cycles. So like our cycle happens at different specific times in not the same as the Adamite cycle. You with me? So we don't actually have a birth date record because we existed before the stars. We existed as Etherians. This is part of what the master teacher is trying to convey to us. We existed in an energy state as Etherians. We created the universes. You see what I'm saying? And then in time, when the universes were in fit form and been, moving in the right order, we incarnated into flesh and blood. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But that's just a brief synopsis. If you want to know more, there's an update called The Immigrant. I don't know what your journey is in Wu-Sabat, whether you sought to become a member or anything like that. But if you are seeking your path to become membership, and then working towards Wu-Sabat and your way of life, there are updates that the master teacher always has been giving us for a very long time. And this one's called the immigrants. And that goes into your 4.5 billion and 7 billion. And these are only time frames. They're not actually the exact, these are time frames according to Earth's understanding of time, because time is actually an illusion. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I have TBJ. I see you, son. Have TBJ on with your hand up.
Okay, can I ask one other question?
Well, so go ahead, Jackie, and then
okay. You know, when they speak of the mark of the beast, we've heard it pretty much all of our lives. You know, mark 666. What is this mark exactly?
It's actually initially it started with the mark of the beast. Religious aspect, people thought that it was a stamp on your forehead, or the many Damien movies and Omen movies. They had a 666 in his head, etc. And then it said it'd be in the palm of your hand, no matter buy or sell. But essentially, they're genetic markers in your DNA. So that 666 ties in with certain beings who are six ether beings. You with me? But these are actually genetic markers on your chromosomes. And these genetic markers identify who you are. Are you getting the book, Zama?
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a book that breaks it down in The Bridge to Salvation goes into it, but my brother's going to get a book, and that goes into the genetic markers and how it plays out and what it is. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Antatiro 4. Yes. Okay. Sorry, I don't bite.
It's 666 represents 6 evil beings, so 999 represents 9 evil beings.
That's all I'm gonna say to you. That's it, man. Breakdown. I want you up here tomorrow. You're teaching. That's excellent. That's right. You've grasped an understanding. You with me? At your age, you've grasped an understanding. And the more you comprehend what this teaching is about, the more you comprehend and understand what these teachings are about, the more it benefits you. Okay? So well done for asking that. All right? Are you gonna find it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Forgot my question.
No worries. It will come to you. Any more questions online or on Zoom or Clubhouse?
Hi, Wu-Sabat. This is Irma. I have a question. It's probably a little off topic, but it was from yesterday when Dr. J was speaking.
Okay.
I get kind of confused why we're going counterclockwise to catch up to the 24,000.
Sorry, unless I listened to Dr. J when he was explaining counterclockwise. Can you give me a reference? What second was actually talking about?
I think it was, you have the 360s, the circles broken, it's divided into 4, and then we're going counterclockwise, and we're in the
SMAT circle, the size, the cycles don't go clockwise. That's an illusion that's being depicted and portrayed and pushed into our mind's eye by Mukasu or the beings that are on this planet, Luciferian children. You with me? Actually, yes. It's not. It's a opposite way. And even when you go and look up the zodiac signs, they actually go counterclockwise. They don't go like right now, Pisces, Aries, etc.
I never noticed that.
Yeah, it's counterclockwise. It's actually counterclockwise. Okay. Now that ties into it's called SMAT circle, which is space, matter, and time, which revolves around every X amount of billions to trillions of years. But when you scale it down, when you scale it down to the 24,000 cycles, that starts from counterclockwise from what we refer to as Atun. Yeah, Atun, Amun, then Anun, then Atum. Yeah, so it's literally, let me see if I can find ontology and break it down from there. Trying to find one of the scrolls called Ontology.
I think that part I remember him speaking about. It wasn't difficult to grasp.
Oh,
It
okay.
was like going counterclockwise. I
Oh,
just,
right. I see. That's what
you
we
know,
wanted.
yeah, it was kind of throwing me around. I just
No,
couldn't.
I'll try. I'll try and still find it too, so that you can have a. Did he show you a visual representation of that at all?
Well, he did some, a
Rahubat
couple
Zama,
of
I'm
weeks
here.
ago.
Oh, okay. So can you hear? Okay.
Yeah,
Go
I just got in. I heard a little bit of what was being said. So I caught the tail end of it. I was away, but I think what the sister's asking about is, I'm not sure if you have the actual fact of time, Nuwapian's ontologist of time.
That's the one I'm looking for. I literally said ontology when you came in.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Okay. Yeah. So if you look at that and look at page 13, I think it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I knew it was in some way. Was it Nawapian?
Nuwapian's ontologist of time. Yeah, because I'm somewhere else at the moment. I can't actually really
Yeah.
be in the class, but
Is it in the store?
I'm not sure. Somebody will have to look. But anyway, the sister that's asking the question, if you get hold of that actual fact, is number 13. It's called Nawapian's Ontologist of Time. The whole actual fact really goes into more detail about what I was explaining, but really from, I think, from recollection, page 13, going all the way to page 14, it got 15, it goes into great detail in terms of the cycle that we're referring to. And there's another actual fact as well, which I don't have at the moment, but yeah, it explains the counterclockwise, which is the true time, and then the backward time of deception. So when you look on that page, you'll see a diagram that has like the clock, and it shows you, you know, the way the clock goes from 12, 1, 2, 3, 4 in that direction, which is clockwise. And then it also it says in that actual fact that that's backward time of deception. And then it explains that counterclockwise is true time. And when you see the diagrams, it will be more clear. Go ahead.
But when they have like on the hieroglyphics, and they have them like wearing the watches, they don't have numbers on them. And they were pretty detailed when they did things back then. So how did the numbers come into play?
The numbers is just to give you an indication that, because the movement in terms of how the galactical bodies work, they actually do move, but they don't move in the sense of the time, what we call time now. So that's what the master is explaining in that actual fact, that there was a position where you get to a point and then it changes in terms of the movement of how, like for example, the planet has been on a 23-degree axis for a long time. But because of the movement that's taken place of the new cycle of the 24,000 year cycle coming in, it's actually then being put back in its rightful position. So a lot of like the oil, if you think of a glass or a bottle with water in it, if you lean it, like 23 degrees, the water will move to a particular direction, and then if you tilt it back to its upright position, it would then move it back. So he was explaining that, like the oil and the resources that were, say, for example, in Saudi Arabia, with this new change, that the planet will be tilting back, that the oil will then tilt back over to Africa. And not long after he said that, many places were starting to discover, more new like minerals and oils and things in Africa. So it's kind of explaining really how this new cycle is actually changing everything from the backwards time of deception to the actual real time or true time, which is going counterclockwise.
A last point before I go, which will explain, is just like, when you look at a vortex and you look at how when you pull the plug from water, the way it spirals. If you do some experiments to see how nature works and why does it spiral in that particular direction, in that motion, as opposed to the other way around. It all ties into how the Fibonacci and natural nature works in terms of the spiral and the way that things should move. And with that,
the natural way. Okay.
That
makes sense.
to me.
Yeah.
Tau.
Zamal Saken Saham Reye, appreciate it. There's if you go to also, there's a diagram on another actual fact called the procession change. And also that ties into the planet, the wobble of the planet. And there's a particular diagram I'm going to share my screen with, just to show you the diagram. So there's another variation of the diagram of the space, matter, and time and the cycles. So if you see here, you see that? Yeah, you have Atun at the top, female. Amun, yeah, going to your left. Would it be your left? Yeah, to the left, it would be Amun. And then you have male. Then you have Anun, female. And then back to Atum, male. So this is the female forces gives birth to a male force, if you notice. Female force, male force, female force, male force, yeah? And with that cycle, as Saken explained, you read within here, talks about the shifting of the axis, which has then brought about natural resources to certain parts of Africa. Yeah, so it's in the book called The Procession Change. Okay, that goes into all the what's taking place now, then and now and beyond to the year 2030 and beyond.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. Have they also accounted for, where they have that separation of the new lake or river or sea that's going to be forming because of the split?
Yeah, in Africa. I don't know much about it. I've tried to read up on it, but Partner Babylon hasn't mentioned anything in regards to that. But again, as we said, this planet is shifting, is changing. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's something going on, but he hasn't actually given us a breakdown as to what's taking place there.
Okay. My last question. Well, actually, it's two quick ones. The orange moon, I've only seen one. I've only seen it once. And what does that symbolize? And why does it seem like all of the other countries and where it's extremely cold, they get the double and triple suns that come out?
Nadum Zamal Tat. Nadum, just to make you aware, you're muted on Clubhouse. You have been for some time.
Who, myself?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Since Ontologist of Time, since after
I must have clicked it by accident. Tell Zamal for that.
No, check out Zamal.
I didn't even notice. All right. 1 second. Just bring that screen up. Oh, no, did that happen? Okay. Just enlarge the screen. It says the audio. Can I be heard? Clubhouse? No, it's the mute. The mute is not on Clubhouse. I might have to come back out and go back in because it's unmuted somehow. Can I be heard on Clubhouse?
Yes, I can hear you, Ken. Nabab.
All right. Okay, that's great. All right then. Totak, Zamal. Can you turn the light back on, please? Thank you. Right. To the young man, any question regarding 666? There's a particular actual fact called Kabir Kadam, which means Bigfoot. And in verse 256, number of the Dabat beast is 6. And 666 is to them, Revelations 13:18, or 3 crosses on Mount Calvary. And then it gives you a quote, Luke chapter 23, verse 33. Calvary means skull, as in skull and bone. So that's one of the Masonic, demonic Masonic, what are they called? Masonic rituals. Yeah, lodges. Thank you.
Still nothing on Clubhouse, Amal.
Okay, then I'm gonna have to come back out and go back in. All right,
Okay,
I'm
don't
gonna
worry.
leave and come back because. Right. Can I be heard now?
Yeah, I can hear you, Nabab.
Okay.
Otherwise, you can be heard now as well.
All right. Total. Okay, so that ties into the lodges. 3 crosses of 6 squares. Center has the Sacred Heart. Mutunanu, Dragonian, Dragon, Dracula, Vampire. Matthew chapter 24, verse 23 to 24. Ka'anu, Canaanites have their Christ. We have ours. Hara, Heru, Horus. Okay, so that ties into basically the beast. Yeah, the mark of the beast ties into their number 6 and their Dragonian or Dracula rule. Like if you notice, you heard the term draconian rules in the UK, or draconian laws. Yeah, you never heard of okay, look up draconian laws in the UK, and it's like basically infringement of your privacy. That's what is known as draconian law. So they brought in things like CCTV, you with me? Basically your privacy is minimized, so that's draconian law that they'll bring in. Certain things that just is against human, thank you. You need to come up here too, man. Okay. Oh no, not a deep question, not a deep question. Go on. Children's questions are hard, trust me.
Always give birth to mouthfuls.
Yes, it does. Yes.
Um,
You wanna know how? Okay, because females have the ability to procreate, grow a child in their womb, while men don't have that ability. Okay. That's what I said. Yeah.
My question was to what we were speaking about earlier about you said time was an illusion, and even the topic before that about what you put into the world is come back, maybe not to you but to someone else. When you say that if you do something today, and it happens, it doesn't have to happen to someone the same day or something like that. And when you say time is illusion, could my time be different to your time? I don't know how. I know what I mean, but I'm not sure how I explain it. Like, my current moment could be your past. I don't know if do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the perception and the concept that they've given us of time, that time is in the face of a clock, moving that direction. Time is a spiral. You with me? So that's the illusion that has been conveyed to us, that we're looking at this clock, it's going 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, you see what I'm saying, in that section. But it's not. Time is constant. You with me? It goes from the future to the past. If you look at the word here and you put there and you put where, it's still here. You with me? Yeah. So it's just time is here, but it's on a spiral basis. So it's moving from the center and it's expanding outwards. That's the reason why you may have what they refer to as deja vu. You with me? Because you've traveled into the future or the past, and it's affecting you now.
I experience deja vu frequently.
Okay.
But I had another question based on what you just said.
It's all right. Gather your thoughts. No worries. We've got 15 more minutes. Okay, is that right? 15, just over 15 minutes, yeah? Okay, so take your time. Anybody else online, Clubhouse, Zoom, who wants to put their question to me or to anybody who can assist? Yes. Okay.
Yes, I have a question.
Well, let the young man and then you'll be next, my brother.
Okay.
In that sense where, again, you said time's illusion, in the so-called time, does it move at a constant or it can be at different speeds at any time given?
Time is constant.
Oh, okay.
Time is constant, yeah. It's constant. If you were to, like the master give an example of somebody who has thrown two balls, okay, from a top elevated building, okay, as it's traveling, it will start meeting at each other at the same rate. The time is constant. All right, so that's an example that you can give. Or, you know, when you hear a siren, okay, that is moving, and if you count, okay, you'll be able to know when it's about to arrive, the actual before it passes you. Another one is thunder. If you get hear thunder in the distance, I think it's that way around. There's one where you hear like lightning, yeah, and you count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then boom, there's a thunder. If you did that over and over, it'll be constant. You hear the constant thunder at the same time. Do you understand? So this is how you know how that time is a constant thing. Okay, right. There was a brother, I didn't catch it. Who was it? Is it Ricardo or Stephen?
Stephen.
Yes, Rick. Oh,
Okay,
no,
well,
no, Stephen, I can wait.
first, and then Stephen, you're next.
Okay. Haruba, Zamal, thank you everybody for all the information you guys sharing. Appreciate, love it. Haruba. I just want to share because I come across the information about how the government and the Vatican Church they holding our names in capital letter, and they operating us as a commodity over the sea land. And I want to know if you guys know something about that, and that's tied to our rights to reclaim the land and soil. And
I have no idea about that, Ricardo. So something about I didn't catch everything. Something about name.
yeah, because this lady, her name is Anna von Heinz. She talks about the States Assembly on the United States, uh, about how the government has been controlling us by operating our names like enterprises over
Oh, right.
over the sea jurisdiction, you know, and then they hold us on this way, and they say everybody has a birth certificate is tied on this type of thing, you know, that's tied to the Vatican. And apparently, if you reclaim your name, your process, you're gonna get all the money they have getting from you on the state trust.
No, what you're saying there, that will take a different class altogether. But yeah, you're right. When you're born, you get a birth certificate, and that birth certificate ties you into as you are commodity. You with me? So yeah, I can claim all that back. I don't know. I'm not an expert on that, but there are people who are experts or know more about that than I. So really and truly, we're trying to focus on what Wu-Sabat teaches as opposed to your legal rights in their world. Yeah. But you can find out more information. Yeah.
Okay, Zamal. Thank you so much. Let's talk about, because I think reclaiming this back, maybe we can help to maybe bring the master teacher out of that place, you know?
Well, the thing is, we do look at every possible angle and avenue. So if you want to raise that, please send some kind of information, and then we can look at it, etc., and be passed on through the right channels. But yeah, anything that
Jamal,
will
if I
help.
may quickly, that is dealing with all of that, like sovereignty and strawmen.
Yeah, sovereignty. Yeah, that's right.
We do have people that are very knowledgeable in that field, and it's something that we're very much aware of. All right, just wanted to let the brother know.
Okay. Thank you, Saken. Harubat, Wadu.
Wadu, Ricardo, tell that.
Rahobat.
Stephen, over to you. Stephen, you have a question?
Rahobat, yeah.
Rahobat.
I'd like to ask a question. From your understanding, yeah, why do rappers, use the term nigger in their songs?
Why do rappers? It's part of the whole Hollywood indoctrination. Just what I'm saying. where they've sold themselves, their soul, they've given up their soul and they've given up their energy and etheric being to these Luciferians. So when they given red core contracts, etc., they have to give a proportion of themselves, their true essence, their true identity, and this is why they write lyrics like that, etc., to denigrate and desecrate who we are as a race of people. You with me? These are negative tones that are being emitted, which is then also our children are listening to this. Not per se, not everybody's children, but when I'm saying children, I'm generalizing. But children and people are listening to this and thinking that it's okay, but it's just derogatory at the end of the day. It's all based on the record contracts and them tying themselves in to the Luciferians. Yeah, because they're selling their soul for wealth, essentially.
Yeah. Tawata.
Also, can somebody can somebody mute their mic? I can hear background. Okay. Any last questions before we wrap up for the evening?
There is a question on Clubhouse and also I look. My question was about the counterclockwise position we are in right now. I'm assuming, in the age of Ptah instead of Aquarian age? And what is the month of September in our culture calendar?
Oh, gosh. I'd have to get the language book, the Lahag book. I do not know it off the top of my head, but there is a particular day that we would call on a particular deity, sorry. There's a brother on our platform. Let me see if I can find. But there's a particular deity, essentially, that we would call on that month. But if you're talking about our true calendar, not the Gregorian calendar, there's not actually a particular name that's ascribed to that. We just go by the 19 days. But there's no actual name applied, assigned to those months in our calendar as what I don't know of yet, unless somebody else knows. But through all the calendars that I've looked at, including our one, I haven't seen it. We do have ones that are assigned to the Gregorian calendar, but the month of September, I cannot remember off the top of my head. Does anybody know in here? Okay. Yeah, let me see if I can find it on one of the Telegram groups. There's a brother, Den Ami Reye, who normally posts. Yeah, see, he's only posted one now. Kadut Shalil Nuntat. So we're in the month of Nuntat at the moment. But he normally posts all of them. So if you actually be able to find it on here. Are you part of our culture, Wu-Sabat, Zamal? Hello? Anybody there?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you membership? Are you member of our culture, the Sabian nation?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there are names assigned to the calendars. Let me just try and find the month of September. And I'll be able to tell. I can't remember the top of my head. It's in the Lahag book as well. I think we've got, here we go. This is Kadut. Let's see. Nun was February. January is Tun is January. December is Tefnatat. You have Kadut Shalil Shashash is in November. So the next one is Atum, October, and then you have Amuntat. Yeah, so the month of September is Amuntat. Does that help? Sorry? You'd have to go through the search to find much. That's on United Sabians worldwide on the platform there. You find all the months. The brother does a very excellent job. Then Ami Reye, who puts all the images together and stuff. You learn all the months through that. Yeah. I can share it. What I've been trying to do is trying to actually download it so then I can put it all together and share it. So that might be a project for me to do. Any more questions? Are we wrapping it up? Everybody satisfied? The belly full? They're belly full, but we're hungry. So is this the way, and why is it your way? I hope that's made some kind of more progression in your mind that this is your way and why you're here on this platform and this question and answer class. So that if it's your way, you know the why and the how and the when and the who and the how and the et cetera, okay? And then you can make a conscious decision to progressively work towards becoming who you are as an Etherean and becoming part of membership as a family and, working together, okay? Especially to free the master teacher. So I hope it's answered your questions this evening. Unless there's any last burning ones, we can wrap it up, or we can just continue until 9:30. You have 6 more minutes, Musia. Shout out for sharing, Ricardo, the file.
What do?
Okay, what someone says, what do? Revenue closure, but what do? Okay, no last burning questions? Okay, right, Huawei. It is like we do have a long journey, some of us, to get back. So, Mushar Tawakun Lahe Yatoy Pa Kayat Panin Masut. That's family. Thank you for coming to our class this evening. We hope you are able to join more. Also, we have a celebration this month. It's our Holy Mother Mary Abba Okran's birthday, which we'll be celebrating on the 10th of March next week. For those who are aspiring or, want to meet the rest of the family and live in the local London area or even beyond London area, but wanted to know what Wu-Sabat's about and what our culture is, this is your opportunity to come down to Nashat from 1 till 5 p.m. on Sunday to celebrate our Holy Mother's Day. That's the master teacher's mother, okay, who transitioned, and it will be a 101st birthday where we give her homage and give her respect on that day for producing or bringing into being our savior for this day and time, Pa Nabab Ya Nun, Dr. Malachi Kobina Z. York. Okay, again, it's at Nashat. Yep. Have you got a question? Somebody say something? Well, wait. Okay. Ashok to everybody. Ashok, Tawakum. Have a great night. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your weekend. Keep on a positive vibe. Do your chants. Do your rituals. Stay connected. And we'll have the master free and be amongst us soon. Wadu, Moshar.
Wadu.
Ashok, Wadu Moisa.
Ashok, Wadu.